What actually happens after someone gets arrested? Most people have seen arrests in movies or television: flashing lights, handcuffs, and police vehicles. But what happens after that moment is part of a structured legal process that many people don't fully understand. In a previous episode on this channel, we explained what happens when someone files a lawsuit, which begins a civil case between private parties. An arrest begins something different. It begins a criminal case where the government investigates whether someone may have violated the law. In this video, we'll walk step by step through what happens after an arrest, from booking to bail decisions to the first court appearances, and what happens before a case moves closer to trial. Not every arrest leads to charges, and not every criminal case goes to trial. But every arrest begins a process designed to protect both public safety and individual rights. On this episode of Step by Step Explained, we're breaking down what happens after an arrest clearly and simply. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss future guides explaining how the legal system works. After someone is arrested, they are taken into law enforcement custody. This usually means being transported to a local jail or police station. At this stage, officers secure the situation and begin documenting what happened. Depending on the circumstances, officers may search the person, collect personal belongings, confirm identity information, and prepare reports describing the arrest. For example, someone arrested during a traffic stop is usually taken directly to a nearby jail. Someone arrested after a longer investigation may already be at a station when the arrest becomes official. Either way, this marks the beginning of the formal criminal case process. Once someone arrives at the jail or police station, the next step is called booking. Booking is the administrative process that officially records the arrest. During booking, officers usually record identifying information, take fingerprints, take photographs, often called a mugshot, inventory personal belongings, and document the alleged offense. This creates a permanent record showing that the arrest occurred. Booking times vary. Sometimes it takes less than an hour. Other times it may take several hours depending on how busy the facility is, the seriousness of the charges, or the time of day the arrest happened. After booking, the person is typically placed in a holding cell or temporary housing area. At the same time, several important things begin happening behind the scenes. Officers finish preparing reports. Supervisors review documentation. And prosecutors may begin reviewing whether charges should move forward. This is an important step that many people don't see. An arrest alone does not automatically mean someone will be formally charged with a crime. Before a case moves forward, prosecutors review available evidence to decide what should happen next. Sometimes charges move forward quickly. Sometimes additional review is needed. And sometimes charges are not filed at all. Shortly after an arrest, often within about 24 to 48 hours, the person usually appears before a judge for the first time. This hearing is often called an initial appearance. During this hearing, the judge explains the charges, reviews release conditions, addresses bail decisions, and informs the person of their legal rights. If the person does not already have an attorney, the court may appoint one at this stage. This hearing is usually brief, but it officially begins the court's involvement in the case. After an arrest, prosecutors review the case to decide whether formal charges should be filed. This is another step that is often misunderstood. An arrest does not always mean charges will follow. Prosecutors review police reports, available evidence, witness statements, and legal standards. Based on that review, they may file charges, reduce charges, request more investigation, or decline to continue the case. If prosecutors decide not to file charges, the case may end at this stage. If charges are filed, the next step is usually called an arraignment. At arraignment, the charges are formally presented in court. The defendant enters a plea, and the case officially continues through the court system. Common plea options include guilty, not guilty, or no contest. Most defendants enter a not guilty plea at this stage. This allows time for attorneys to review evidence and prepare the case. It does not mean the case will go to trial. It simply keeps legal options open while the process continues. One of the biggest early decisions after an arrest is whether someone stays in custody or is allowed to return home while the case continues. This decision usually involves bail, sometimes called bond. Bail is money or conditions set by a judge to help ensure someone returns for future court appearances. When judges make bail decisions, they often consider factors such as the seriousness of the alleged offense, whether the person has prior criminal history, whether the person is likely to return to court, and whether there are safety concerns. If bail is posted, the person can usually leave custody while waiting for future hearings. If bail is not posted, they remain in custody until later court decisions are made. In some situations, the court may release someone without requiring payment. This is called being released on recognizance, meaning the person promises to return to court as required. This stage is one of the biggest differences between criminal cases and civil cases like lawsuits. In civil cases, people usually continue their normal lives while the case moves forward. In criminal cases, courts sometimes decide whether someone must remain in custody while the process continues. If someone is released from custody after arrest, the court may still set rules they must follow while waiting for future hearings. These are called conditions of release. Examples may include remaining in a certain area, avoiding contact with specific individuals, checking in with court officials, or avoiding additional legal trouble. Following these conditions is important. Violating them can result in being returned to custody while the case continues. Even after release, the case remains active until it is resolved. If charges continue forward, the case enters what is called the pre-trial phase. During this phase, attorneys begin preparing their cases. One important step in this process is called discovery. Discovery is when both sides exchange evidence. This may include police reports, videos, photographs, witness statements, and forensic testing results. Discovery helps both sides understand the strengths and weaknesses of the case. It also helps courts resolve cases more efficiently before trial whenever possible. Many cases are resolved during this stage through agreements or negotiations. We'll explain how those negotiations work in detail in an upcoming episode about plea bargains. Many people assume every arrest leads to a trial. In reality, most criminal cases are resolved before trial begins. Possible outcomes may include dismissal of charges, reduced charges, diversion programs, or negotiated plea agreements. Trials are an important part of the justice system, but they are only one possible outcome among several paths a case may take. Understanding this helps explain why the process after an arrest involves multiple steps before any courtroom trial happens. In our last video, we explained how civil cases begin when someone files a lawsuit. Today, we covered what happens after an arrest begins a criminal case. Next, we'll look at one of the most common ways criminal cases are resolved before trial. How plea bargains work step by step, because understanding how cases are negotiated is one of the most important parts of understanding how the legal system actually works. If you want more step-by-step explanations of legal, financial, and government processes, subscribe to Step by Step Explained for future videos.